we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no more. Oh, even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Annalise and this is my channel where we get planty with it. If you are new here, I put out new videos on all things plant related twice a week, so definitely subscribe if you like that type of content. So today I wanted to take you guys through a day in the life of a plant mom who has upwards of 150 plants. I don't know exactly how many plants I have. I haven't counted because I think it's going to stress me out more to actually know, but definitely more than 150. I just don't know how many more than that. So every morning I do a check of all of my plants and do any tasks that come up that can be done quickly. If not, if it's a longer, more complicated task, I'll save it for later when I have more time. So I'm going to take you guys along with me, check on my plants, and show you how I take care of them every morning. So first off, I know I'll for sure be watering some plants, so I like to get my water ready. If you watch my items I like to reuse for plants, I talk about how I use wine bottles to water my plants because it has a thin spout at the top and holds a lot of water. So this is just my liquider water. It's just distilled water with liquider in it. We have it pre-made and put it in these big containers, but it's just hard to water from here, so I like to get it into the wine bottle to water more quickly. Well, that was perfect. I definitely need to make more distilled water today so I can make another batch of this water. So first up, I like to check on the plants above my desk. And so I just do a quick pass with each plant and make sure none of them are looking super thirsty. At this point, I know a lot of my plant signs for when they are thirsty. For instance, on my Scindapsus, the leaves will curl. There's a teensy bit of curling here, but nothing major. This guy will also curl and get kind of droopy. I also check all my Leco reservoirs and see, okay, there's enough water in there. I definitely don't need to water it today. Those guys up there look good. My Monstera kind of always needs water because it's in this terracotta pot that dries out really quickly. So I'll usually just give it kind of a little spot watering now and then. Every couple weeks or so, I'll do a full drenching in the shower so the leaves get clean and the soil gets completely soaked through. Moving along to the top of my first greenhouse cabinet, everything looks good here. I'll check there's enough water in there, there's enough water here. I like to check on my propagations. They're overall doing well. I'm definitely gonna lose some pieces of this guy. It's not really rooting up and it's totally shriveled up, but some are doing really well with their rooting up. I think you can actually, yeah, you can see a little bit of root action in there. A little hard to see because they're really pale yellow. Then I check on my cabinet, make sure nothing crazy is going on in here. Let's see, I like to make sure I'm feeling all my sphagnum to make sure it has enough moisture in it. That is completely dry. Let's get the water. And okay, that guy's set. I also check all my propagations. So I have my Campo cuttings in a cup with water. I just make sure there's still enough in there, enough water here, enough, not really enough there. Let me add some more. So usually with my leca plants, I'll add nutrient water that has special hydroponic nutrients in it. But for now, I'm honestly just gonna add this. It does kind of the same thing. Still make sure to add your nutrient water, you know, now and again, but this is not gonna, you know, mess up the plant in my experience at least. And look at this cutie new leaf coming out. I love the color they started out at. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, this guy's fine. That needs more water in there. And I think that's pretty much it for this cabinet. I do want to go through and clean up the whole cabinet, but I think I'll do that later today when I have a little bit more time. Okay, moving along out here, I have quite a few plants in spag, so I'm just double checking that those are wet enough, which they are. This is a new propagation that I just potted up, so I want to make sure the soil is staying damp, but it is. I do have a moisture meter here, as you guys can see, but usually I can just kind of tell. Yeah, that's right. You can just tell kind of from the color of the soil and the behavior of your plants once you get more used to them. Hoya are a little different. Hoya I like to feel, so I can feel the leaves here and tell they're not squishy. When it needs water, the leaves get super pliable. These are a little pliable, but I'm gonna wait a little bit. And there's some cute new growth coming out. This guy's good. Everyone over here looks good. This guy looked for wrinkles, so I'm actually seeing a little bit of wrinkliness there. So this guy I will water. I do water my plants that are on the windowsill differently because this does not have a tray below it. So I usually bring it over to the sink and water it over in the kitchen area. So we'll do that. Just to make sure I'm not messing up my windowsill. Okay. It'll drain out onto the table, but it's easy to clean up, so I'm not worried about that. Well, it's actually draining a lot more than I expected because I just did too much water. But thankfully I have a handy dandy little towel to sop that up. There we go. All good. Okay, moving along. Nothing over here looks like it really needs any water. There's some props over here, they have enough water. This one's looking so crusty. It's a silver sword propagation, but I'm hoping that given some time, it'll start to look better. So then I move over to this side of the living room. This plant is super thirsty. Since I do this every day, I know which plants are usually very thirsty and need a lot of water. This guy I just watered the other day, so he's fine, but he is a super big plant and like super root bound in there, so I do have to do a repot sometime, but it's a daunting task. I don't know why, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. This guy's also super thirsty. You can see the crazy roots in there. I'll give him a little drink. Okay. I don't really check on this Birkin because it's my boyfriend's plant and he takes care of it, but it doesn't look like it needs anything right now. This silver sword looks fine. I just soaked this guy in the shower the other day, so I'm sure it's fine. And then I check on these guys, make sure there's enough water in here. Let me add a little more. One thing I do like about using liquid earth water is you can use it in your propagations and it does help them root up faster and grow more successfully. So it's kind of a great all-purpose fertilizer. These props look good. My pink princess looks good. This guy's moss is still damp, so we're good over here. Let's move into the plant room. So there are a ton of plants in this plant room and I don't check them all every day, but I kind of just do a quick once over to make sure there's nothing super dire happening in terms of watering needs. So this guy looks fine up here, my Calathea macoiana. This guy I'll do a little squeeze test. No, that one's doing fine, doesn't need water. A good amount of these are my boyfriend's plants, so I don't really check on them unless I notice that they're really struggling. Again, I make sure all my water props have enough water, so that's why I kind of recently grouped them onto this one shelf so I can do a quick once over and see everything pretty much has enough water in it. Earlier this morning, I also did notice on this guy there were some spider mites. You can see some of the damage there. This leaf we already had seen spider mites on, and I tried to get rid of it, but it seems like they came back. So I did rinse and treat this leaf. Usually whenever I see it, I try to treat it in the moment because if you don't, you risk it spreading to other plants. I probably should treat a couple of these other guys that are near it, so I'll make a mental note and grab them after I finish my watering. These guys down here are all looking good. I'm just checking the soil. Both of these look fine, and this guy could use a little bit more water in there. We do have this tray down here that we use for watering as well, for things that want to bottom water or for plants that you want to drain out but not mess up the shelves. So this is my perlite propagation of my Monstera Aloe, and I do like to make sure it's damp in there. There is a hole at the bottom though, so I just water it and the water will drain out the bottom when it's ready. Okay, moving back over here, just making sure there's enough water. As you can see, this is getting a little low on water, and I do care a lot about this plant, so I make sure to really keep the reservoir at the top. Everything's looking good. This plant needs water, but it's my boyfriend's plant, so I'll just put it on the map for him so he remembers. Other than that, everything looks good here. I do like to do a quick check inside my prop box, make sure nothing crazy has happened overnight. Let's see. It's looking good. This leaf is so pretty, so yellow. But yeah, it's looking good. Nothing exciting happening here. Oh yay, my Aloe syngonium is putting out this really cute white leaf. That's gonna be nice. It has enough water. My succulents don't look too dehydrated yet. So it looks like this side of the plant room with the plant shelves is good to go. With my ivy, the way I check is I just kind of lift the pot. It's super duper light. And so I'll give that guy some water. This is one of the other plants I know is super thirsty and loves some water. Here is my cebu. It's not attached to the wall or to the plank yet, but it is growing some bigger aerial roots, as you can see. Here's one. There's an aerial root. So I'm hopeful that it'll do it at some point. But that guy doesn't need water, it's looking good. This guy gets super droopy when he needs water. This guy will droop as well if it needs water, but it's looking fine, so I'm gonna let it be. I always say a quick hello to Seymour. Oh, where is he? There he is. I check on my Mandula. It did have pests, but I've treated it about 3 times. It had spider mites, and I've treated it about 3 times, and I think I'm not seeing any left, so I think we're good. But I do like to just do a quick check. This guy is very low maintenance, an aloe vera plant, so I let it be. Look how beautiful the sun is. It's a beautiful day. Now, I always check on this plant because it's one of my favorites. And it has a new leaf coming out, which has 3 fenestrations. I cannot believe it, I'm so excited. And it has the most beautiful sectoral variegation. Like, do you see that? Up here too, so. I like to check on this plant, make sure it's doing well. This bottom leaf is going out, but I just like to double check and make sure that it just seems like a normal issue. But what am I seeing on this leaf? Okay, it looks like just dirt. But I always get a little bit anxious at that and like to do a quick pest check. Okay, I'm not seeing any pests, so I think we're good. I might give it a clean later anyway, just to be safe. Here is my variegated alocasia. This guy also did have spider mites. This guy does get spider mites quite often, but I did just treat it the other day. So I will double check and make sure that they're gone, which they are not. Great. Really hard to see on camera. There's like one right there. There's also one right there. Yeah, I don't think you can see it, but there's little red dots on the back of the leaf, which lets you know that there are spider mites. So I'm just gonna take this guy for now and put him on the table in the middle of the room here so I can treat him later. Here's my melanochrysum. It's doing well. I'm trying to get it to climb up the wall. Here's its newest leaf, which is a really good size. I'm very excited about that. But now I'm nervous since it was near a plant with spider mites that it had spider mites. but I checked this guy yesterday and I'm not seeing any. I think it's good, but I may treat it proactively just to be safe. Okay, that's it for my plant room care. Everything's looking good in here. So I like to go through here and just do a quick check of all the plants. I care a lot about my Hoyas, so I do probably spend a lot of my time staring at these guys, so I know a lot of what's kind of going on. With the plants that are in soil, like these guys here, I do a field test to see how squishy the leaves are. These guys don't seem too squishy, so they're fine. Look at that new growth. So fuzzy. These are fine. Make sure you don't get fooled because new leaves that are coming in are super flimsy, but if you test the older leaves, they're not flimsy at all, so it does not need any water. I'll check this guy, make sure there's water in the reservoir, which there is. This guy, the white pots, I usually can just lift up and I can tell how much water is in them. That guy needs water. As you can see, I'm pretty much out of my wine bottle of water. I go through quite a bit of water every day. Let's check. So this new anthurium, it's not a new anthurium. I mean, I just put it in Leca, but this guy, it has enough water for now. I'll probably make sure to add water to the reservoir tomorrow. Check back here. This guy seems fine for now. This bag is damp, so we're good. The water reservoir there looks good. Yeah, everything looks good. Just kind of doing a quick once over. I lift all the pots down here to make sure they all have water, which they do because I checked them all the other day. Water in here. They look good. I also like to do a peduncle check because I have one peduncle. I don't know if it's gonna make it. I can't tell. It's turning yellow, so I don't know if that means it's dying, but it is what it is. I'm happy I even got one. So this guy looks all set. And then I have a couple plants scattered about my room that I just like to check on as well. This one's super low maintenance because it's just sitting in water, so nothing really going on there. Up here, this guy needs water, so I'll probably take him down later today and do a full water because it has a lot of, it's super root bound. I need to repot it basically. This guy definitely needs water. You can see he's super droopy, so I'll just bring him down for now so I remember to water him. This guy's good. Just feel the leaves. They're not really squishy, so they're good. And this guy also needs water. So I'm making a note to myself because I'm out of water in my container and I need to get more water for those guys. Then to my little plant corner over here. All of these guys look good. They usually, these two wrinkle up kind of when they need water. This guy gets squishy, but I watered it the other day. This one will droop. Same with the peace lily. As you know, peace lilies are super dramatic. I just watered this guy down here yesterday, so he's fine, and this one's fine as well. I can just tell from feeling the plant, like how bouncy it is, how droopy it is, so that's good to go. Then we have our two big plants by the window here. This guy, it looks so bad. I cut off some leaves because there was a lot of browning. There's still some browning, but it's slowed down since I moved it to better light. But I don't think it needs water right now, but when it does, I do put this guy in the shower since it's so big. And then this guy looks good for now. So when I run out of water, I usually will just fill a watering can in the sink with regular tap water. I usually do this when the plants left are plants I don't care a ton about because they don't really need distilled water, so. Okay, let's go. So this one I do just water in place because it's in a catch pot, which does not have a hole in the bottom, so it can't really leak. Although of course, as I said that, I spilled everywhere. No big deal. This guy also has a little tray, but it's super easy to spill out of the tray, so I gotta be careful. Let's see. Not dripping through yet, so I'll add a little bit more. Okay, it's dripping through. Leave that guy there. Wipe this off a little bit where I spilled. Okay, and I think that's good for in here. I'll just let this guy soak up the water before I put him back up top on the shelf. And I think that's it for these guys. Okay, so I brought out the one plant I noticed actual spider mites on. The other ones I didn't really notice them on. So when I have more time later today, I'll treat them preventatively. But for when I see pests, like actual pests on the plant, I like to treat it immediately because they kind of freak me out. So the first thing I like to do, I have this little microfiber cloth and I have my neem spray that I made, which is just neem oil and castile soap. Do not let me spray get in my coffee. And so I like to really like wet this cloth, and then I'll go through each leaf and wipe the front and back. Now, certain plants, this is not really feasible. Plants with a lot of leaves, this guy only has 5 leaves, so it's really easy to do this. But if it has a lot of leaves, usually I'll throw it in the shower it down, and then spray this neem spray all over it. That's step 1. And then I have a step 2 I do to really get rid of all the bugs. It's really important when you're wiping down your leaves to try to get pests off that you are doing the front and the back, especially focus on the back, because a lot of pests seem to live, at least in my experience, on the bottom or the back of the leaf. So you want to make sure you're getting there. And a lot of pests like to be right in this area. So you really want to get, you know, get a good rub in there. On the bright side also, the neem makes your plant super shiny. So your leaves will have a beautiful shine to them. So as you might have heard, I think I've said it in other videos, and I know a lot of people talk about it, neem is not really a great pest killer when you already have pests, but it's good at preventing pests from coming onto your plants. So I do that as my first step, just to kind of get the pests off the plant and give it an outer layer of protection. And then I take the real pest killer, which is Captain Jack's Dead Bug. This is the stuff that I highly recommend. This is the stuff, that's enough said. And I'm gonna spray it all over this guy. I'm gonna move it to my kitchen area because I don't want to get spray all over my desk. Okay, so I really think you cannot use too much of this spray. I'm just gonna kind of go crazy with it. And you really want to make sure you're gonna get the front and the back of every leaf. It does drip, so that's why I like to do it on a surface I don't mind getting wet. You can do this in the shower if that's easier for you. I don't mind doing it out here, it's a little bit easier. Okay, now I'm just gonna leave this guy here to dry off. Let me move this plant away so it does not get spider mites, because spider mites in this would be a nightmare. And that's pretty much it for this guy. I'll just leave him to dry, and then when it's dry, I'll put him back in the plant room. Hey guys, it's the next day and I'm just popping in because I totally forgot to include one step of my daily routine. So I don't do this every single day, but I try to do it at least every other day, and that is fertilizing my Hoya. I use this orchid plant food mist from Miracle Grow, and I basically just go through my cabinet and spray all my Hoya. This is one reason why it's also really convenient to have all my Hoya grouped together, because I used to walk around the house for 5 minutes finding all my Hoya to fertilize them, but now they're all in one place. So I don't spray super specifically, just kind of spray, you know, around them, as you can see. I don't think you can spray too much or if there's any specific amount, so I kind of just make sure most of the leaves get a little bit of a spray on them. And that's that. I think it's actually been really helpful in getting my Hoya to grow more quickly, so I would highly recommend it. I'll make sure to link it for you guys. But yes, that is a step I totally forgot to include when I filmed yesterday. So I think that about wraps it up for my daily plant care routine. I have no idea how long that took. I felt like maybe 15 to 20 minutes, which is not super long considering just how many plants I have and how many different needs they have. I really do need to check on them frequently because I can't stick to some sort of watering schedule because they all have different needs and wants and desires. So I hope you enjoyed watching my go around with my plants. If you enjoy these types of videos, definitely let me know. I don't know if you guys prefer kind of sit down videos where I just talk to the camera or videos where I'm just walking around talking about my plants. I like both, I don't really care. But yeah, comment down below what kind of videos you like and any requests for future videos. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.